Hi everybody and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Caitlin and I am adjusting my tripod. I don't like when the top of my head is cut off. Anyways, if you're new here, my name is Caitlin and I create videos about fashion and beauty and all that good stuff because I love that stuff. But I also like to create videos about like the work industry and how to land good jobs and how to nail interviews. And today's video is going to be about working from home. Now, I made a video about a year ago on the same topic, but at the time I was a student and my job did not require communication with a lot of people. I was working from home partially for a short bit of time with my school paper, and then I didn't have that job anymore because there was nobody to read the paper because nobody was on campus thanks to COVID. But now I work full-time as an assistant media buyer at an advertising agency, so my work from home experience has been a little bit different now. So I'm going to kind of revisit some tips, and I'm also going to give you some new ones. Some of this video may have voiceover because I took some content this morning showing you my morning routine and different things that I do that really just help me get through that work from home day. So starting off, I'm gonna read in my beautiful notebook. Look at this. I got this when I was in London at Papersmiths in Shoreditch or in Box Park. Check them out. I'll link them below because I love them. Okay, so the first thing on my list of things that help me working from home is to create a to-do list. Now, I believe I mentioned this in my previous video about working from home and it still applies. Physically writing down what you need to do is going to help you remember it. That's just how it rolls. That's just how things work. And that's how it works for me, at least. So I always try and like write down, make notes. It's been a little bit on the messier side for me because I'm working from a notebook that I am going from one page being about like certain things, and then the next day it's like, oh, I'm gonna like write down little notes on like the things I'm doing at work, and then I have meetings. And so it's still not a perfect system for me when it comes to making my to-do, but I'm getting there, and I am almost at the point of I need to reorganize, and that is what is super important with the work from home, is staying organized. So that's also another little thing on my list of things to do, is to it's really important to stay organized when you're working from home. That means keeping your space where you work organized, keeping like your bed made, keeping your room that you're in kind of clean, keeping your email up to date and organized, and keeping just everything in line so that there's no mess when it comes to work, because that's not fun and that is going to make your work more complicated. Going off that, it is also super important to keep your email organized. This was something that one of the girls who's training me at my job right now told me about. She was like, just create a bunch of folders and put all these emails in different things, because in my job we deal with a lot of different things. We deal with a lot of different clients, and so keeping everybody separated and keeping the different parts of my job separated is super important in staying organized. So yeah. I also want to highlight keeping a routine. I think that that is super important, is to do your morning routine and to have your evening routine and to have your daily work routine. You know, you start your morning doing one thing and you follow into the next, and you do your typical task in a routine. Obviously, there's always different things that are going to happen during work that you might have to switch up, and that is okay. But in general, have that routine so that you kind of fall into it. Almost like, you know, when you go to work and you're used to getting up at a certain time and driving to work at a certain time and leaving at a certain time and having lunch at a certain time. Create and mimic a schedule just like you would if you were going into work, and create that for home. That way you kind of stay nice and organized and good to go. And for me, it's like super important to have a morning routine. That's like that's setting me up for the rest of my day for sure. And that kind of falls into my next point, which is take the time in both your mornings and your evenings, post-work and pre-work, to be mindful of your day and yourself and your body, and to create a peaceful space for you to relax and the evenings, and even relax in the mornings, and really almost like create like an environment that you can feel good in. Sorry, the setting, it looks probably different. I had to, not the setting, but this angle is probably different than what I was at. So I had to jump off. I had to jump into a meeting, a random meeting. Anyways, so what I was saying, what was I even saying? Something about being mindful and keeping a routine. But basically you just kind of want to create an environment that you feel like really good in and have that routine, because it's kind of going to just, it's gonna be good overall. I'm very sorry that this is a very weak point because I don't remember where I was at. But yes, making time for yourself is super important for your mental health, and make sure that you are doing it, because we are still in a pandemic and we are still very secluded when we're working from home. We're not around a lot of coworkers and friends and stuff like that. Which also, with that note of not being around a lot of your coworkers and friends, make sure you're reaching out to them. Sometimes it can be hard, I get that, but like especially for work, make sure you're reaching out to your coworkers like during the day and just kind of chatting them and being like, hey, want to jump on a call, or like once a week, and just try to keep that connection that you would have had if you were still in the office. I think that it's super important to have, and I think that it's what really keeps you going with your team. You know what I mean? Like, especially working on a team, it's good to have that connection with the team. Some other little things that kind of just help me throughout the day, one of them is staying hydrated. I keep my cup of water, whatever cup I have, on my desk, and I always make sure I have it there because I get really thirsty sometimes during meetings, and it's like kind of a pain because you can't really just get up and be like, hey, I'm gonna go grab water, and just leave in the middle of a meeting. So if you have it there, you have to drink. I always have at least 2 or 3 caffeine drinks a day. I'm not suggesting you do that, but it's something I have to do because I get very sleepy, and I need the flavor of a caffeinated drink to like be something different. And also I like want to think that the caffeine does something for me, but it doesn't. I've never felt caffeine. Like, I have espresso shots and coffee. One time I like a 4-6 shot espresso thing. I don't know where I was at a bookstore, and I was like, what do you can you give me with the most caffeine? And then it was like a lot of caffeine. But anyways, I don't suggest you drink that much caffeine, but for me it's something that does get me through the day. So I'll usually have like a coffee in the morning, and then I'll have like either a coffee, or I love English tea, like black tea with some milk and sugar. Sometimes I'll have that in the middle of the day, and then maybe I'll usually 2 around the middle of the day, like around lunch, and then like maybe an hour or 2 later, just to kind of get that last bit of my leg, and you know, from my 12 or 1 o'clock till 5, just really push through that with some caffeine and some flavors and things that will keep me going. And it's not like I'm eating food that will weigh me down and make me feel sleepy, because my body has to digest it. And also just making sure you're staying hydrated is just good for your overall health. So make sure that that's something you're doing. And then another thing that really is super helpful when you're working from home is to plan your meals, to know what you're gonna have for breakfast the next day, lunch, dinner. It doesn't have to be to a T, but a general idea. That way you're not just kind of like lunch comes around and you're like, what am I having today for lunch? Like, and you go to your fridge and there's nothing in there to eat for lunch, and then you're like, maybe I'll just like go get something. But you're like, oh, but what I mean, for me it's like, what about traffic? And sometimes that's a pain to just step out for lunch, because I don't live in a very walkable city. I have to get in my car, drive, and go somewhere, and sometimes it's traffic. And so I'll like resort to DoorDash or Uber Eats, and sometimes that really just, it's expensive to just order food to you, so you're kind of really throwing away a bunch of money on delivery fees and stuff. So by planning your meals, you're saving money and you are simplifying your day. So that's like a really big suggestion, especially if you're living alone. And then if I haven't mentioned it already, make sure you have a designated work spot. It's gonna really help you kind of get in the zone. When you sit down, that's where you work. You know, don't work from the bed, don't work from the couch, unless that is your designated workspace. But usually for me, it's like if I sit in my bed, I'm gonna be sleepy, I'm gonna want to take that nap, and more than likely I'm just gonna pass out. And if I sit on the couch, I'm gonna get real relaxed, real comfy, and I'm gonna start like leaning my side. Before you know it, you're like laying on your back trying to work and you're not working because it's just not working out, you know. So those are my suggestions for little things throughout the day that help me when it comes to working from home. I hope that these little tips helped you, and I hope that there was a better in-depth view of working from home now that we're really deep into this pandemic. Some of you may be going back into office, some of you may be like me. My company has basically said that we are going to be a work from home company for the foreseeable future. I hope this was informational and helpful, and if you liked this video, be sure to hit that like and subscribe. I would love for you to join me. I'm hoping to have some fashion videos soon. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, morning, whatever it is, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.